In the early 1980s, amidst a recession, high inflation, and the collapse of the American auto industry, anti-Japanese sentiment was growing.
People who drove Japanese-made cars on the freeway got shot at. They didn't have to be Asian. Black, white, they got shot at for driving a Japanese-made car.
But author and activist Helen Zia says the murder of 27-year-old Vincent Chin, a Chinese-American engineer in Detroit, was a watershed moment.
Vincent Chin's killing and his murder was really a wake-up call to Asian Americans who we felt the hate everywhere. It felt unsafe.
Racism against Asians is getting worse.
Chin, who was not of Japanese descent, was beaten to death with a baseball bat by two white men after a fight at a strip club. Witnesses at the time said the men, American auto workers, were angry, blaming the loss of American jobs on Japanese imports.
When the sentence was meted out to be just 3 years probation and $3,000 fine, that was the outrage that something required action.
There was a nationwide furor, calling Kaufman's sentence a $3,000 license to commit murder.
The light sentencing sparked mass outrage and galvanized a movement for Asian American civil rights.
It really left us very few options other than trying to go to the federal government for a civil rights prosecution.
Ronald Ebens killed Vincent Chin with a baseball bat.
James Shimura was the volunteer attorney for Vincent Chin's mother, Lily, at the time.
It was unprecedented. It was probably the first time in the history of the U.S. Department of Justice they took a civil rights case to trial on behalf of an Asian American.
This was the case that people said, enough. We need to stand up. This is wrong. You cannot kill somebody and get off scot-free.
This week, across the Detroit area and country, people have come together to keep Chin's memory alive.
Greetings, everyone.
The Vincent Chin 40th Remembrance and rededication included film screenings, public art, and panel discussions.
Whenever you speak to someone about anti-Asian hate, the first thing they talk about is Vincent Chin, which is with Emmett Till. The difficulty is that I never thought we'd be sitting here in 2022 still talking about it.
It comes at a time when anti-Asian discrimination and violence has been on the rise. According to the advocacy group Stop AAPI Hate, between March 2020 and December 2021, they received reports of over 10,900 hate incidents against people of Asian American and Pacific Islander origin.
The verbalization of the flu as the China flu, Kung flu, that sort of thing, I think that sort of was a calling card to allow people who had that anti-Asian animus to just explode.
Today, with the spike of hate that I have to say, many of us believe that this is even worse than the 1980s.
Remembering Vincent Chin, say activists, is one way to move forward.
Whether it's Coeur d'Alene or Buffalo or Atlanta or Indianapolis or any church or synagogue.
Stop hating on!
We're seeing this everywhere. And it's not one group here and one group there. It has to be all of us coming together.
Reporting from Detroit, I'm Usher Qureshi.